we're quickly becoming one of those 5-year overnight sensations. I feel like we're on the cusp of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast. Jonathan, we're in the same room.
We're in the same room. I don't think we've done maybe 2 or 3 shows. We did one in my rec room.
Yeah.
We did one with John.
We've done a couple live shows like
Yeah.
this, but yeah. So here we are in the Palatial Studios in Columbia, South Carolina, also known as an office and junk room, maybe. But at least it looks like it's behind us. But yeah, we had a great chat today with Marc Hanson of Bluetross Golf, talking about,
Oh my gosh,
incredible head covers. These things are amazing. But I think even better story is Marc and his wife that are doing this great thing from their garage. All right, another business that is crushing it from the garage of their house. So a lot of fun. What'd you think? I know you just saw this
first time
he sent us, and your comments, which look at you smelling.
It smells. It's so good. I've got 1 or 2 scorecards, and you kind of forget, and you're like, whatever, that's no big deal. And I'm looking at this going, I'm going to carry this every time I play golf now. One, because it's got our logo on it. I'm pretty excited about being able to customize it that way. But then also just a good quality. And I have a leather wallet that a buddy of mine made that was close or a little bit lighter than this and turned so dark just from the oils from your hands. So I can't wait to see how it ages. And then a better story of a guy who spent 22 years serving the United States and all of us in the Navy, and then taking sort of a little passion project and turning it into something that, again, I have no idea how to be creative and or use the equipment or machinery. So whenever we find people like this, I'm always enthralled, because it's like I wouldn't even know where to begin other than like poking myself with needles. But yeah, incredible work. Even a better person, as you'll get to hear, and just a good storyteller too.
Yeah, and there's a combined shared interest not only in golf but Old Barnwell and the people and the missions behind that. So y'all will enjoy what Marc's doing, and you'll hear he gives a discount code for anybody listening to the podcast. I'll wait and let you hear it during the interview for those that if you go to his site, and you can get it off of everything, right? Like fill up the shopping cart, and you'll get, I think, 15% off everything. So thankful for Marc, thankful for a mutual friend now, Mike Sullivan, who introduced us. Again, that was another connection to Old Barnwell that, pointing us to people doing good stuff in the game. As always, we are brought to you by our friends at Summit Golf Brands. We are both rocking some Beach Ready shirts. We got a zero restriction vest here. Love what these guys do. And again, speaking of discount codes, if you use BestBall20 at any of their sites, you can get 20% off to look as good as Jonathan here.
Well, you'll look better, but you still get 20% off of looking better.
You'll get 20% off. And we're working, hopefully, maybe soon we'll have some best ball gear that we can offer up folks. So anyway, Marc Hanson, Bluetross Golf. Y'all enjoy this episode. All right, joining us today on The Whole Story, Mr. Marc Hanson of Bluetross. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How are y'all? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And as we said, this is a rare occasion that Jonathan and I are actually in the same room. But we thought for a guest like you, with what you are doing, this warranted us coming together. One, Jonathan really wanted to get the incredible things that you shared with us, but yeah. So no, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for having me. I'm honored and excited, and yeah, it's let's do it.
Yeah.
You're just south of here in Charleston, South Carolina, right?
Correct. Yeah, I'm in Charleston, South Carolina. Moved back here in November of 2017. I was stationed here twice while I was in the Navy. So yeah, it's my 3rd time in Charleston. But yeah, we're kind of, it's technically North Daniel Island. We're not on Daniel Island or in the development itself, but we're on that spit of land. It's called Caneway or something like that. So yeah, kind of pretty central to everything. Can't get anywhere without going on a bridge. Just hoping it doesn't rain, so traffic doesn't look like San Diego, where I moved here from. So yeah, all good.
Are you still active duty Navy?
No, no, no. I retired in 2014. So I guess I can give you that brief, quick background. It's kind of relevant. So I enlisted when I was 22 back in the early 90s, and then went to boot camp in Orlando, Florida. That base is closed, and then came here to Charleston for nuclear power training for the hands-on portion of it. Did pretty well. Got asked to stay for a couple of years. The staff did that. My oldest son was born here, and then did a submarine in Kings Bay, Georgia for a couple of years, and then got picked up for an officer program. And they said I could go to the Citadel or South Carolina, which was a pretty easy choice. I didn't like wearing a uniform or marching, so I went to Carolina, and then graduated in 2000, and then went to Newport, Rhode Island for 6 months, then to Norfolk on a frigate, back to Charleston for a year for the Officer Nuclear Power Pipeline, back to Norfolk for 2 years. And I went back to University of South Carolina and taught for 2.5, 3 years of the ROTC unit, which is still the best, definitely the best 3 years of my naval career. It might be the best 3 years of my life in general. When you measure it all against it. And then went back to Newport, Rhode Island for a summer for another school, then to San Diego. And then I was in San Diego for 9 years and then ended up retiring in San Diego. So
I love it. Well, go Gamecocks, one.
Go Cox.
Yeah, but more importantly, thanks for your service.
I appreciate that. I never know what to say because honestly, back when I joined, I just didn't have a way to pay for my car, and I didn't have a girlfriend. I was tending bar. I was a wannabe professional bowler who didn't quite make it, and so I needed a job, and originally joined to save enough money to open a bar back home in 6 years, and then had a kid, and life got in the way, and ended up doing 22. So yeah, it's amazing that it's been 12 years since I left. So yep.
Well, you kind of share that story, and somewhere in there, golf had to become part of it, right? Like you maybe played it the whole time, and that just wasn't a highlight, or maybe that came later.
No, it's funny. My dad, I don't know how he did it. I have two sons, and there's a significant gap between them. My oldest is 31, and he loved the game, loved playing, and then he moved with his mom after we got divorced when he was young, and so his stepdad was a great guy. His stepdad's a great guy. His mom's a great woman, and he was a professional soccer player. So my kid kind of started playing soccer. And then my youngest, he's 15. He just didn't really take to it. But my dad somehow, when I was 6 and my brother was 4, had the patience to take 2 young kids out and teach us the game. And my dad started kind of late in life at golf. I think he was in his late teens or early 20s, and he and my grandpa and my uncle used to go out and play all the time. And then when my parents got divorced, my dad ended up moving to this apartment complex in Indiana where we lived, where we're from. They had an executive golf course. And so, we'd spend every other weekend with my dad, and like from April to October, like that was just when we got to play golf. Like that was something we looked forward to. And if it was raining, we were sad, and we weren't very good, obviously, and we're fighting over who gets to ride in the cart or who gets to drive the cart. And, all the stuff now that when I see, like when I was taking my youngest out, all the stuff that just kind of was like, kid, you just got to do what I say here, right? Like, I don't know how my dad did that, especially back in the early, the mid 70s. But, when we got a little older, he's like, look, I knew I wasn't very good. He goes, but I knew if there's one thing I could teach you that would be successful, help you be successful in life as you got older, it would be knowing how to play golf already if you went into business. And so he was very prophetic in that regard. My brother is very, very successful in business. I've done okay in life. Bluetross is gaining a lot of momentum, so about to become pretty successful in business, I feel like. But he was absolutely right. And so, this is actually, I was thinking about this is my 50th year playing golf, my 50th summer of golf. thanks to my dad. And, my dad and my dad doesn't play anymore. He just turned 80, and we went back to Indiana for his birthday. And all he wanted to do was watch my brother and I play around in golf. So we went back home to Indiana. And it was funny. When I was in high school, my dad married a lady, and they moved on to this really nice golf course in town. And we had a house on the 6th tee, but we weren't members. So we would just watch people playing it all the time. And then seems like probably a year and a half after I left for the Navy, they joined the golf course, right? And so now, my brother is 2 years younger, so he gets to play all the time. But I'm out of the house, and I've got a wife and a kid by this point, right? I get married at 22, I have a kid at 24, and so I would go back and play a lot, and I ran up such big bills on my dad's tab, for the time. And then after 9/11, my brother and I used to alternate who went back home each year to play the member guest with my dad. And after 9/11, the pro asked me to come in uniform, which I was like, okay. I'm not a big spotlight guy. So, and, I get there and he's like, hey, I'm going to call you up. I need you to make a speech. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Right. So and he had told my dad right before I got there that they had passed a bylaw that any child of a member who was active duty military didn't pay for anything except food when they were home. And there was no age limit. So I'm 35 going home, and I'm playing, if I go home for a week, I'm playing 8 rounds of golf and carts and range balls, and well, you don't pay for range balls, but all that. And, I just looked, I was like, I don't think anybody's happier about this than Ray, who's my dad. Like, you just saved my dad like $5,000 a year from when I come home, right? And so, and they still have that going on, and it's nice. And so, yeah, it just kind of gone from there. And golf's been a huge part of my life the entire time. And my brother and I, when we get together, there's always golf involved. So it's been the gift of a lifetime for my dad.
Somewhere in between officer training, nuclear launch codes, and professor at US.
Reactors,
What's that?
Reactors, not missiles, reactors. I ran
reactors. The things that you're not pushing buttons, you're actually pushing the buttons that make the buttons work when someone does push them.
We made the steam that shot the pilots off the front end of the ship. That's what my job was. And we generated the electricity and the air conditioning, and made the water and all that stuff for the ship to run. So the unsung heroes of any ship are the folks down in what I call the pit, running the engineering plant to make the power and the water and the heat and the lights and all that, and keep it running. So no glory, just a lot of work. Yeah.
So somewhere in the middle of that, while you're hot bunking it, you decided that you were going to start making leather goods?
No. That happened way after. So it's kind of fun. So over here, if you see that Pepsi flag that's on the top there, that was kind of the impetus for the whole company. In 2000, so summer of 2000, I get commissioned. My first school is in Newport, Rhode Island. It's a 6-month school. They sent me there for the summer. There's no better place to be in the United States from Memorial Day to Labor Day than Newport, Rhode Island. I'll fight people. I'll die on that hill. That place is just the best place in the world to be. And my brother had just started with Pepsi a couple years prior, and he was living in Cranston, which is Providence, basically. And so we played a lot of golf that summer, and Pepsi used to sponsor an event for Johnson & Wales University at Newport Country Club. And so my brother and I, we grew up drinking Pepsi, and, at one point we had a Pepsi machine in the business my dad worked for, my dad had with my uncle, and then that lady my dad married had restaurants. So we had like a little Pepsi tap in the house, very fortunate. So Pepsi's always been like the brand for us. And so he gave me that flag, and I moved it back and forth cross country several times. And then in 2020 during COVID, he's still at Pepsi. So now it's 20 some years later. He's a senior executive, and he's an impossible guy to get a Christmas present for, or any gift for that matter. And at the time, on Instagram, a popular thing was send your stuff in and people make like a Seamus barrel type head cover, right? And so I thought, oh, that would be unique, right? Like they could take the circle part of the logo and make that on the top, and then figure something else to do with the rest of it, right? And so I got some quotes, and I was like, I started college as an art major. Only had to quit because I can't draw or paint. I think I can figure this out, right? So my wife, now wife, pulled out her mom's sewing machine that she inherited. It was like 55, 60 years old. Go to Joann Fabrics, just fabric to practice on before I cut up this flag. And I literally destroyed that thing in like 3 hours, like uh, unfixable, right?
Sewing machine or the flag?
Sewing machine, yeah, yeah. Sewing, no, flag's still hanging up. Nothing ever
All
happened.
right.
It's still hanging up here. Um, so then go back to Joanne, get a cheap little sewing machine, and practice, and then showing stuff to my friends. I was a member at Daniel Island Club at the time here in Charleston, and they're giving me feedback, and then I started making some samples for them, and then somebody asked if I could make what I call the oven mitts, right? Just the regular style, and I was like, sure. So I decided like I'll give it a shot. So I bought some scrap leather from someplace in Missouri online and started working with that. Excuse me, and then that little sewing machine, I didn't like how small the thread was, so I bought a bigger sewing machine. And then probably a couple months after that, somebody asked me if I was looking for a partner, and I was like, oh, apparently I'm onto something here. And so went with that, and it was basically just a hobby through COVID, right? It was something that I liked doing. Like I said, I started as an art major in college. My family, so when I was in high school, my senior in high school, I would go to school like 8 to 11. I'd leave school, I'd drive to my family's screen printing business. I'd stop on the way, hit a bucket of balls at the range on the way there, go to work. I'd get to work at 1, and I would do artwork till 5. I was doing the layout artwork and stuff for printing stuff. And so at that point in time, my dad and uncle's business was doing stuff for every hardware wholesaler's hardware store across the country, Ace Hardware, basically. So all the stuff that hung up in the banners and stuff that hung up in the store, I was laying out all the artwork for that. I was shooting film, developing film, shooting screens, doing everything but printing it, basically, just because they had people that did that. And so wanted to be an art major and like being creative. And then it was just kind of a way for me to kind of be creative and get away from my day job, which I was in the healthcare field during COVID. So it wasn't really a great time to be in healthcare. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was one of the people in healthcare where COVID actually wasn't that bad, because my customers basically just said, hey, we'll call you, just leave us alone. So, I mean, it's been 3, 4 years since I left that job. So I can say not, but I played a lot of golf during COVID, just a ton of golf. And still did great at my job, but my job was basically just putting out fires for people, for pharmacies that something was happening with their stuff and they couldn't distribute the medications properly. And so yeah, it just was a COVID hobby, and then it kind of became a side hustle. And then, as corporate America is known to do, there was a big reorganization every September or so. And after the last one that I was there for, they said that, this reorganization, they decided they wanted somebody who did what I did for the federal government. And I was customer success. So after everything went in and was installed, then I went in to help them optimize their equipment and get the most out of it. And the federal sales team wanted somebody like me. And even though it wasn't really a good fit because of the version of software the government was on, and so I went from having 4 or 5 great customers across the country and 300-400 hospitals I was responsible for, to all federal healthcare. So Department of Defense, VA, Bureau of Prisons, National Institutes of Health, CDC, Red Cross, you name it, right? And there wasn't really anything where I could add value, and it became just a slog. And so finally, in January of 24, I left my job and have been doing this ever since. And one of these days I might even get a paycheck from this company. It might be nice. So, I think we're very close to that. We're quickly becoming one of those 5-year overnight sensations. I feel like we're on the cusp of it. So yeah.
Love it. I love it. So let me ask this.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the name, right? How do you mentioned
Yeah.
before when I was making sure I could pronounce it well. Is that
Hmm.
part of the story?
It is part of the story. Yeah. It's kind of a big part of it actually. So at that point in time, I said my brother was a senior executive at Pepsi, and he was their what was he? He was some big title in charge of strategic brand partnerships, right, for Pepsi North America. And at that time, he was doing stuff with like on the distribution side, from the way I understand it. So if somebody at Pepsi is watching this and says I'm totally wrong, you're right. I'm totally wrong. I'm just going based on my perception of it. But he was working a lot with Pepsi. I think at the time was trying to break kind of into the canned alcohol market as a distributor, kind of basically, right? Like I think there was talk of some hard Mountain Dew or something like that, or they might even put it on the shelves. I don't know. It's 3 or 4 years ago, actually 5 years ago now. And anyway, Pepsi at the time was also working on one of those mixers, like the things the Barstool guys used to do, or they might still have them.
Oh yeah.
Gibson's or whatever it is, right? But it's basically just the grape juice and Fresca or ginger ale to pour into vodka to make a transfusion, right? And I forget what it's called, but he's like, look, you need to find a color and an animal and go with that. And I was like, okay. And so we went with a bunch, and then so I sailed on 6 of the 7 seas, I think, as far as they're listed right now. I've circumnavigated the globe. I left San Diego, went in 09. We went around Hawaii and all that, and then up into the Arabian Gulf or Persian Gulf and back down, and we were up in the Red Sea. And then finally we Navy realizes, hey, it's cheaper for us to go through the Suez, across the Med, down through the Panama Canal and go back up to San Diego than it is to go back the way we came, right? So we actually circumnavigated the globe on that deployment. The bad part was we didn't stop anywhere after we went through the Suez because we got delayed. But so blue is my favorite color. It's my youngest son's favorite color. So that was the easy part for the color. And then the albatross part of that's obviously from golf, right? For albatross, the rarest shot other than the condor, right? And condor didn't really sound very good. And then I had somehow come across this long poem or epic or whatever it's called The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, where this guy is at sea and he shoots an albatross and it ends up being like a bad omen and things go poorly for him after he does it, right? And then also when you're at sea, an albatross to me is just a big seagull, right? Is basically all they are. And you typically when you see an albatross at sea, it means you're getting close to land, and hopefully that lands home. So to me, it was kind of a way to tie together golf and coming home from deployments in the Navy and my family and all that stuff. So that's kind of where the name came from. And then a quick Google search reveals that there's no other company in the world named Bluetross. So it makes the search
one of one.
One of one. We get autocorrected to Blue Cross a lot, but if you put golf after it, it comes up right to us. There's no Blue Cross Golf. So yeah, that's just kind of how it came. And there's some things, we have it all as one word. We probably should have left it as 2 because we'll get Blue at Ross or Bluetross or something like that. But for the most part, since we have the color in our logo, the words in our logo, 2 different colors, people tend to pronounce it correctly. So yeah, so that's where that came from.
You and your brother have just initiated more companies that are going to be named a color and an animal. It's going to be like pink gators or, like
right? Yeah.
Red snappers. Oh, wait a minute, that's a real animal. Never mind.
Right. Well, it's funny. One of my favorite places to eat in Newport was called the Red Parrot. And it was a great restaurant right on Thames Street. I don't know if it's still there. It's been 20-some years since I went there, but yeah, like it's kind of become, I think you got a great logo, and which I'm sure you'll get to. And then, we're just trying to do the right thing and help kids however we can. And we go from there. Yeah. Trying to give back.
Well, you've definitely come a long way from your broken wife's sewing
So
machine.
yeah,
So because I'm enamored, I have no artistic ability in my life. I also don't know how to use machines, which limits what I can do to basically talking on a podcast. Uh, you have graciously sent us some of this stuff, and I'm blown away
yeah,
by the quality. I still have no idea how you magically put some sort of soft fabric on the inside of leather. And I was telling Robbie, like, this scorecard keeper is probably going to, like, my 4 generations from now are going to be able to use this thing. This is the
yeah.
thickest and well built thing I've ever seen from a golf perspective. So, what does equipment look like now? Like, what is the process? How in the world did you grow into this sort of creativity?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny, right? Like I knew I didn't want to be in corporate America the rest of my life, right? Like I had answered quote unquote to the man every day for 22 and a half years, had to shave every day, didn't like doing that, and I shave for you guys. It's not Sunday, but I shave for you guys.
Appreciate it.
You didn't have to.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but
We've
it was at that point where it's just looking like I was lazy, right? It wasn't looking good, it just looked bad. So making the when I started making the head covers and stuff, I used the same leather that everybody else used, right? The same thin um, leather that if your bag falls off the back of your cart and falls on the path and gets scuffed, the head cover is basically ruined, right? Because once you go through that protective layer on that kind of leather, which is paint, and you get to the suede of it underneath, you can't do anything with it, right? It's just ruined. And uh, so when I retired from the Navy, the first job I had, I was selling milling machines in Southern California. And the first pair of shoes I bought as a civilian were a pair of Allen Edmonds made with football leather from Horween. And I got to think, I was like, those shoes are pretty cool. A head cover like that would be pretty cool. I wonder if I can get that leather. Just to do something different, right? To be a differentiator of some sort between me and the Winstons and the Tremonts and all these people that are at scale who just dominate the market, who have the majority of the share. And it turns out that Horween does have an outlet for that. It's called the Tannery Row, and they'll sell single hides rather than having to go and buy, 500 square feet of leather at a time. I can buy 20 to 30 and it's fine. And so I got some of that, and then working with them, realized the other leathers they have. So the one you have there, Jonathan, is their Dublin leather. They make that. Yep, that's Horween Dublin in toasted coconut. So Horween is a 5th-generation tannery in Chicago, and they've been tanning leather downtown Chicago for the last 100 years. And so where the leather that everyone else uses to make head covers takes a couple days to take from raw hide to leather, and they use chemicals and things like that to tan the leather before and dye it. The type of leather you're holding there is called vegetable tan, so it's not chrome tan, it's vegetable tan. So rather than throwing all these hides in a big drum and tumbling with these chemicals to break down the skin into leather and tan it, they stretch these skins on screens and put them in a big vat of water filled with barks and fruits and roots that the tannins in those tan the leather naturally, right? So that dry sensation you get in your mouth with red wine, that's the same stuff that's working on these hides and turning the raw hide into leather, right? Those same tannins that are sucking all the moisture out of your mouth when you get a big, Zin from Australia, are the same tannins that are preserving the skin and turning it into leather. Well, that takes a couple months, right? So it's a much more expensive leather. And then it's all full grain, not just top grain. So you're getting the whole thickness of the hide. And then with the way they tan it, you can shine it. So if it gets scuffed, then you can polish it back up, or you can leave it. But regardless, that leather is going to continue to age over time and develop the patina and, basically get, for lack of a better term, a suntan while it's outside, and it's going to darken. So eventually, Jonathan or Robbie, I think yours is light natural, right? So eventually that will get almost to the color of yours, Jonathan, the one that Robbie has, and yours will get a little darker. And then and I was a big head cover guy. Like I was one of those guys that, when I got a new bag, I had to get new head covers because I don't always play good. So my bag had to look good. And I loved white, but white gets dirty and grungy. And, the thing about having leather tanned organically is that nothing that you soak in water will turn it white. So there is no white leather anymore. That's the only kind of downside we have from going to this ultra premium leather. The upside though is it'll last forever. So as long as you take care of it, and you put some neutral shoe cream on it to keep the leather moisturized and protect it a little bit. I mean, you're right. You'll hand that scorecard holder to your grandkids. I mean, and when it comes to the scorecard holders and the archbook covers and other things we make, one of the things I didn't like about them is they always felt so flimsy, right? Because it's a piece of that really thin leather, which is like a millimeter thick, then either a piece of thick cardstock or a really thin piece of plastic, and then a piece of fabric over it, and it's sewn and it's got elastic, and it just always felt flimsy to me, right? And so that one you're holding there is just leather and thread, and that's all it is. And it's a very stiff Italian leather when it first gets here, and then it'll break in where that bend is. But when you're writing on it, you don't have to like put it on your knee. Like you can actually hold it up and write on it without, flexing everything. And so, I just went with that.
Even if you're writing big numbers on it.
Even if you're writing big numbers, yeah, there's a lot of reinforcement for those big numbers.
Okay, good.
Is there a left-handed version or?
Well, so it's funny. My wife and I actually, it's funny because I write left-handed, but I play all sports right-handed because my dad was a righty.
Okay.
So I wouldn't acquiesce to his side when it came to holding the pencil or the marker or the crayon, but when it came to playing the sports, I acquiesced. And so I always put the pencil holder on the left side because I hold it in my right hand and write down my left. But typically, my wife's like, well, you should put it on the right side because people are right-handed. And I was like, well, I would think you would grab it from the left side and just write. And so, there's a chance when you get a scorecard holder from me, the pencil holder could be on either side. I mean, I should probably put an option on the website for which side you want the pencil holder on. But yeah, it'll last forever. And then, all that sweat and everything when it's hot out. Like I was at Old Barnwell last weekend, very hot. I got one in my back pocket, sweat, all that stuff. And it just helps develop the patina, right? Like all these oils and all these things from the atmosphere, build up that shine and that patina. And it just, to me, makes it look better. So it's funny. We actually, I made one for Denny McCarthy. We have a mutual friend, and I made something for a charity he supports, and I sent him a yardstick cover at the same time, and he was using it, and then he got to Pebble Beach last year, and it was gone. And I asked my buddy, I was like, "What happened?" He goes, "Well, it was raining, so he didn't want it to get wet." I was like, "No, that's the perfect time to use it, right? Like, it's nasty out. Use it then. Let it get wet. Let it develop all that character and show that you've actually used it." And so the real impetus behind switching to that kind of leather was that I had to find a way to be able to sell product and create a market, a niche market for myself where nobody else was, right? Because I can't compete at scale in pricing with Winston and Tremont. I can absolutely compete with quality and craftsmanship and all of that. And then to me, the next place to go with that was the quality of the materials. So we use the absolute best leathers we can get. So whether it's Forween for the head covers, or that scorecard holder is actually Italian, from Tuscany, from a tannery called Virgilio. That's part of the Tuscan Vegetable Tanners Consortium or something like that, right? We just use the best leather that we can get. And so are we more expensive? Yeah, we're twice the price, but our materials are 4 or 5 times more expensive than anybody else, right? So I think it comes down to wash where, yeah, we're twice expensive, but we'll last 4 times longer than any other head cover you buy, right? So, that's the big thing, is getting the clubs to understand the value proposition of what we're selling, right? Like they can have this half the overhead, make the same amount of money, right? They can have the same overhead, right? But half the shelf space, make the same amount of money. but also then their members and guests and anybody who buys it are actually getting value for their money, right? Like they're not going to come back in 6 months and say, oh, this thing's gotten grungy because it's a light colored leather and I threw it on the ground, right? You throw that light colored leather of Robbie's on the ground, it's just going to look better. And so, it's just all about creating that market segment in the golf industry that wasn't there. There's a couple guys that have popped up since, like Linksman, what's his name, Chris? I think you guys have talked to him, right? Ryan. He uses some Horween stuff. Like his accents are the same tannery, the Horween stuff, and he's at a good price point. He kind of mixes his materials a little bit with the chrome tan and the veg tan, but the artisan craftsmanship, we're just trying to do that on a much larger scale, right? So we do member guests, we do, we're trying to get these big clubs and big resorts and all that stuff, which I'm sure you'll get to. And quick 9. I've done a little studying, so I'm prepared.
Nice. Well, you mentioned you mentioned the yardage book or the scorecard holder, and you and I were texting about that before, about the sweat helps it and stuff like that. As far as head covers too, like these are great out in the rain. Like
throw them on the
ground.
Throw them on
the ground. Have them out in the rain. Like you're good.
Do it. Just every. I'm
not going to throw it on the ground. I like it too much.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that, but don't worry if it falls on the ground. Let's put it that
way. Gently let it fall to the ground. I get it. Yeah, well, you mentioned working with clubs and things, and we were interviewing Tim and Joe with Fescue and Dunes.
Oh, my
And
buddies.
They were talking about the accessories, and they said, yeah, we work with Mark with Bluetross, and we're like, wait a minute, we're talking with him, and I held up one and showed it to them. They were like, oh yeah, working with folks like that who are doing great things in the game, like that's the goal, right? Like you want to get into more clubs, you want to work with organizations like Fescue and Dunes that are helping to bring clubs and logos and the highest quality stuff to life, right?
Yeah, and so I actually have one out here. So I met Tim and Joe. This is one we did for them. This is Port Marnock that we did for them. I met Tim and Joe. My first PGA show was 2025, and got introduced to them there, and I had a sample there, and they were like, hey, this looks like something that would be great for what we're getting ready to do. We have 2 tiers of head covers. We want a third. We want an ultra premium head cover. And, been partnering with them for the last year and a half, and it's going great. They're growing like crazy, which I'm looking forward to hearing their episode whenever it comes out. But they're growing like crazy. They're great guys to work with. It's all been gentleman agreement, right? We don't have a contract. We're getting to the point now where we probably need a contract. Because while I'm in my 400 square foot garage right now, in 4 weeks, we're moving into a 2,600 square foot space and actually expanding and buying more equipment and scaling. We're finally scaling. And a lot of that is due to our partnership with Tim and Joe at Fescue and Dunes and doing things for them and with them. And then, with that, right? Like there's other dream clients I have, right? Like all the dream golf resorts, the Bandon, I'm going to Sand Valley in 4 weeks. Hopefully I can find somebody to meet with while I'm up there between now and then. The Stream Songs, the Cabots. And then on the philanthropic side, the Evans Scholars. So I'm very fortunate to be able to go play Old Barnwell pretty much whenever I want, with the great folks up there with Nick and Kitty and John and Lucy, and I'll forget people, so I'll just stop naming them now. But I don't think there's a better model for a club, a national club, than Old Barnwell, and doing what they do and giving back and encouraging the participation of kids all over Aiken, right? Basically, the way I understand it is, if you're a kid under 16 and you want to go play golf, you can come out to the kids course at OB anytime. Doesn't matter if you're a member or not. I could be misstating that, but there's all this stuff that they do at First Tee and Evans and all that stuff. And so once we get into the bigger facility and our production capabilities have expanded, then I've already talked to Nick Schreiber about talking to the Evans Scholars and trying to do something nationally with the Evans program. And then trying to help out the Annika ambassadors however I can as well. It's a little tougher with them because they all have sponsors and they have requirements to carry stuff from their sponsors and things like that. So it's a little more difficult probably, but just doing what we can to help them out. I grew up lower middle class and was very fortunate to have some opportunities presented that was able to take advantage of, and same with my brother. And I think just to be a good human, you got to give something back. And so to help kids get into a game that's been so great to me for 50 years, and I've met so many incredible people and seen so many beautiful places that I think everybody should have a chance to do that. And I think golf's a great way to do it. And I think Old Barnwell is the best place that exemplifies that right now, that ethos of community involvement and philanthropy in golf. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're hard to beat in terms of the model, like you said, and what they're trying to do. And not just saying they're going to do it, but living it out. Like,
yeah,
I just recently played last month. Robbie was at the member guest, and you're hanging out with true Evans scholars. Like, you're hanging out with kids that are trying to learn the game of golf, how to become better caddies, and being given those opportunities to not only engage with the guy that they're carrying the bag with, but also future opportunities for scholarships and things like that.
Yeah, and so again, I don't tell any. I mean, I'll tell you guys, which I guess is telling everybody, but don't like to advertise it. But like, anytime a kid at OB is caddying and meets the requirements to apply for the Evans scholarship, we'll send them a yardage book cover, right? It just got the OB logo on it. I'll say OB Evans candidate, and then for the ones that get picked up, so DJ and Bennett are two of our caddies that got picked up last year, and so I made them both. This is football leather, but I made them duffel bags out of that leather you have in Gamecock Red, and then on the inside I put their name, Evans Scholar 2025, South Carolina, something like that. And so they have that, and they can, they have them to take to the gym or to class or whatever. And then this year we had two more selected. So I'm about to start a duffel bag for Parker. And then for Daniela, I have to ask her if she wants a duffel bag or if she wants some other type of bag that my wife might make, that like a slouchy tote or something like that. Since, I don't know.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I don't know what they, what college girls are carrying around these days, right? Guys will always carry a duffel bag, but I don't see too many girls carrying a duffel bag around. So I got to get with her and ask her what she would like. But yeah, we do that. And then, I'd love to do something nationally with Evans on this beautiful green Horween leather I've got, and with an Evans logo on it. And, a portion of every sale goes to help a kid in the foundation. So.
Well done.
That duffel bag looks incredible.
It's pretty solid. Yeah.
It would look great in the back of my classic Porsche. I don't have a classic Porsche, but I know what the back seat would look like. So
yeah. I'm actually working on one right now for my brother. He's very busy, so I don't know if he'll see this before or not, but it's green. He's a big fan of green and purple. And so this is that same Italian leather you have, Robbie, for your for your yardage book holder or scorecard holder, but it's in green and purple, a bit like a Hulk duffel bag, and I'll put his company's logo on it. And then, he's running a pretty large company with some pretty high-end brands as partners. So if it ends up somebody at Aston Martin sees that and wants to buy some, then I'm all for it. But yeah, just making head covers all day, every day, can get a little monotonous. So you got to find something creative to do on the other side when you're done with it. So yeah, it's funny. I get done with work sewing leather, and then my outlet for my creativity is to just go and then do something else with leather that nobody's ordered, right? Just something for me or for my family or my wife or something like that. Yeah.
That's really cool. Is there kind of a dream thing that you haven't made yet that you want to add to the lineup?
Oh, that's a good question. Backpacks. I'd like to figure out how to make a backpack. The duffels were the big thing, right? Like that's probably that's definitely the hardest thing I make. A backpack would be even harder.
Have you done a golf bag yet?
No. And, I honestly don't know where I'd start with a golf bag. And I say that because now that Sun Mountain Marucci baseball glove leather bag they made, right? That's pretty solid, right? It's also very heavy. And so I've been on a 3-year quest to find the absolute lightest golf bag possible because I love to walk. At OB, I take a caddy every time, right? Just because it helps a kid, it gives kids some cash in their pocket. But if I'm playing somewhere around here and my host wants to walk, then I love walking, but I want that bag to be as light as possible. And so a leather bag would be heavy. And the other thing is it's just, I don't want to be a jack of all trades, master of none. I want to make the absolute best of a few products and then let the people that make the golf bags and specialize in those do them. I've never met, I think his name's Scott from Elliott Bag Company, he's across town here and he makes bags and they look pretty. Mackenzie knows what they're doing with these bags. Like for me to come in, I can't compete with them at price. My quality wouldn't compete with them. Someday when I'm 75 and just tinkering around and my grandkid wants a new bag, sure, maybe. But it's not on my product plan right now. I'd rather get into apparel before I get into golf bags and become a bigger lifestyle brand like Millar or Johnny O or something like that where the leather accessories are a highlight of what we do and something like that. Yeah, that was our big product. That was our big plan a while back, and we've since scaled it down a little bit. But real quick on the baseball glove leather. So that bag, that Sun Mountain bag, that was like a glove that's already made, right? So we use the actual leather. So Horween also makes the baseball glove leather for Rawlings and Nakuna and a bunch of others. So the Rawlings Heart of the Hide gloves are Horween. And so this was a special edition I did for OB for Masters Week. I made 3 of them. This one's my artist proof. It says artist proof in there in the bottom. So it says 2026 and then 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3 on. And these were out for Masters Week at OB. And we only did 3 of each. I had 4 different designs, did 3 of each. And I think next year there's going to be significantly more of each because they went pretty fast. And also you have the Gilroy that's going to might be open next year for Masters Week. So yeah, so we use actual leather. And so this is actually part of our, I have a line coming out here in a month or two called America's Pastime, where it's made out of the baseball glove leather. And then the pinstripes are the city, having moved here from San Diego, right? The Padres would be brown within a yellow number and a brown outline around it. And then I was talking to a national sales rep for Gresham Reed the other day and made him a couple samples. He's like, hey, I got some friends at the Grove. You might want to send them some stuff. So I sent one of these down to the Grove last week. I don't know if they've gotten it yet, but that's one of the better looking ones I've ever made right there. Pretty damn solid. And then I have one more somewhere, but I don't know where I put it. But it's basically a Roy G. Biv diagonal pinstripe where it starts at purple and then goes out both ways. It's pretty. I'll send you a picture of it after we get done, but it's pretty solid. Yeah.
You should figure out how to get in touch with. Who's the pitcher for the Braves? Not Tom Glavine.
Smoltz, yeah.
Yeah, because he's big into golf. You get him some sort of baseball leather or something that has his number and ATL or Braves logo or something.
Yeah, there's also a World Series golf tournament at Pebble Beach every year in December, put on by, I think it's George Brett and a couple other guys. And so their ad agency that runs it is actually here in Charleston. And so I've talked to them I'm going to talk to them for this year. I didn't get to them quite in time for last year, but yeah, it's pretty solid. And then the football leather is coming out in August, and that'll be the Gridiron collection. So again, it'll be in the colors of the NFL and college teams. I can't do the logos because the licensing is so expensive right now. Licensing is the goal. But I did one for my brother. We grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, so all we ever had was WGN and the Cubs, and then the Bears. Right, Colts weren't around when we were in high school. And so I did a football one in Bears colors for him with his company logo, and then a baseball one in Cubs colors with his company logo on it. And they're on one of his bags that he has. They might be in his office actually now. I'm not sure where they're at. But yeah, that Gridiron.
That's awesome.
August, so
that's awesome. I mean, we could chat with you about all the different things that you're doing, and we will continue to try to highlight and share your story because it's amazing. I do want to give a special shout out to your friend. Jonathan mentioned the member guest Mike Sullivan, who showed me his head cover and was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of Bluetross?" I'm like, "I've heard of him." He's like, "I can hook you up with the guy, right, to tell the story." So, Mike, thank you for introducing us to Mark. This has been great.
So I'm the only guy that calls him Mikey because I've known him for 20. I call him Mikey because when I met him, he was 25 years old. Now he's 48. But we met. My wife loves telling us, we met online. There used to be a website called Bomb Squad Golf back in the early 2000s. And in 2005, Mike had a R7 quad off the tour truck with one of those ion Diamante blue board shafts. And I made him a ridiculously low offer. And he knew I was in the Navy because we had chatted on this this message board all the time. And then he's like, "I'll tell you what, I'll sell it to you for this and a hat." And then we ended up meeting in person like 2 or 3 months later in Virginia Beach at an outing that was put on by one of the guys that was, pretty active in the website. We all got banned from that website, like literally a month after that, by the way. But for something, so I think the guy who ran the website's now in jail still for it was a weird scene, but met Mike in person, quickly became fast friends, was in his went to his wedding, met my ex-wife at his bachelor party in Vegas. And then, he's been my best friend for 20 some years. Absolutely love the guy. He's overcome a lot of difficulties in his life and come out on the other end of it, and couldn't be prouder of him. And he's one of the biggest fans and promoters of Bluetross we have, and he's just a great guy.
Yeah, he was awesome, great to play with and hang out. We had multiple meals together that weekend there at Old Barnwell. So
he's a great guy. Yeah,
a lot of fun. Well, let's shift as we start to wrap this up and get back to a little bit about your golf and then some of your favorite things. So we ask everybody, we want to hear the story of your most memorable golf shot.
So I'm a listener, right? And I watch. And so, when we first started chatting, I was like, oh, well, if this works out, I should be able to answer these questions, right? Because I'm not a guy who does well being put on the spot because I have so much stuff going through my head.
So you got it all on paper. Just read it to us. That's fine.
We did just switch. We did just change all of our questions for the quick 9, so I don't know if that's going to be a problem.
But I have 3, but you'll notice I have 4, but there's a common theme through all of them until I get to the last one. So first one, I'm playing that member guest in Indiana with my dad. Spray my drive way right on a par 5. I'm almost in the other fairway. Big stand of hardwood trees between us. Little gap up in the top. I'm like 225 out. Hit this 3-iron, 15 feet, missed the putt. I'm in Boston, playing at Renaissance Golf Club. A little rainy, wind into me. 4-iron, knock it down. Stops dead 5 feet from flag. Missed the putt. Go to Pacific Dunes, or go to Bandon for the first time. I think it was either 2010, first time we went, or 2012, the second time we went. I'm on Pacific Dunes. Hit my drive right on 18. Have you guys been to Bandon yet? You guys been out there?
Not yet.
Oh, all right. Well, when you go, you'll understand. But hit my drive right.
Is there a plaque out there for you?
No, there might have been if we'd known what happened. Hit it right. Have to take a drop because I can't swing the club. Like 225, 230 out. Caddy points at a cell tower way off in the distance behind 18 green at Pacific. Pins all the way back right, but it's kind of like a reverse Redan. And Caddy's like, just hit it at that cell tower and hit it 220. I'm like, all right, absolutely lace this 3-iron. Get up there, can't find it. It's in the hole. 2-net 3, because I had to take a drop, so I don't have a double eagle either. But the one that really stands out, I was playing with Sully, as you know him, Sully, Mikey to me, in the Atlanta Athletic Club member guest in 2023, and we made the shootout, and they do it pretty. I really like the way they do it there. Is they take half the flights, put them on one course, the other half on the other course, and then it's a 3-hole aggregate, true alternate shot, and the lowest score out of each of those groups then goes to the final. Play 17, 18 on the Highlands, but you're back to best ball. You're back to match play. So on 17, we both make pars. And then 18, if you've played it, you know it's par 5, dogleg left, goes around. Well, Sully hits his in the right fairway bunker. Our two opponents are both kind of in the fairway, but they don't hit it very far, and they lay up. And I absolutely pipe one. And I've got 220 left to the hole. And I haven't played much before this, but I've been practicing a lot. And all I've been practicing is long irons, because I'd gotten to this point playing in wind where I was hitting them all low and I needed to get the height back. So I literally hit thousands of range balls with a 5-iron through 3-iron for a month before I go playing this thing. And so I'm in the fairway. I already got my 4-iron pulled, and I look over and Mike hits the lip, then he hits it out again. So he's laying 3, 120 out. Opponent's laying 2, 120 out. And Sully comes over and he's like, hey, you can lay up here. And I was like, I got this. He's like, well, I'm laying 3 and they're laying 2. And I was like, I've got this. And so, I mean, it was just one of those ones that you never feel, right? Like, just the second of impact, I was like, that is really, really good. Like, I couldn't have hit that any better. And it's towering. And I screwed up the club twirl and dropped the club. I remember that, because I wanted to start walking, because I knew I hit it that good. And it lands, I don't know, and there's carts all around the back of the green, right? There's probably 100 people up there. And it lands 25 feet below the hole on the right. And they go nuts. And so then our opponents both kind of mess up their shots. And so they're basically both chipping for 5, basically. Or one's got like a 40-footer for 5, and one's chipping. And so Mike gets up there and makes his 6, and I go over the eagle putt, and I'm like, all right, just get it up there. Like, all you got to do is, hell, I could 3-putt this and we'll win, right? And I hit the putt. As soon as I hit, I was like, oh my God, I putted it into the pond. Like, it at Highlands on the major championship course there, pin was back left, and I was below and to the right. And so there's a straight shot in between the back bunker and the left bunker, right, to go into the shortly mown area right into this pond, right? And it hits the hole, hops up, and drops. So walk-off eagle to win the thing. I go nuts for an embarrassing long amount of time. And that's one where I actually made the putt. So that's definitely my most memorable shot, was make an eagle to win a member guest and get a 1-of-1 decanter set, because it was the 125th anniversary for AAC, so it was a special gift to mark that year. So there's only 4 people that have those, and I'm one of them. So that's probably it.
Well, and there's enough people to corroborate that story, because there's lots of really good putts and shots made at member guests that no one actually can see and tell if it happened. So whenever I go back, if somebody, have you heard the story about the eagle? That was this guy. And I'm like, yeah.
You're that Mark?
You're that Mark.
I got lucky.
Then they watch you putt and they're like, wait a minute, different guy.
Yeah. Well, there's actually a video of it where as soon as I hit the putt, the guy taking the video was like, oh my God, sit down. Like, yeah. So
playing the bank shot, right? Like,
yeah, I didn't call back. Yeah.
You had the line, though. You had the line.
I had the line.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, as you know and seem prepared for, we do a little quick 9, a little back and forth here. So first question, what's the favorite course that you've ever played?
I'm kind of a homer here, and I'm going to say Old Barnwell. But I've played 2 courses in my life. I'm not one of those guys that can play a course once and remember what the 7th hole was, right? And what I hit and all that stuff, right? Like, I was a member of Daniel Island Club. I probably played 200 rounds on each course, and I still have to start at 1 and walk 1 or 10 and walk my way through to get to some of these holes, right? I've played 2 courses in my life, and I've remembered every hole playing it once. And one was Old Barnwell, and the other was Pine Valley. And um, it's pretty high company for OB there, right? But Nick seems to think that Gilroy is going to be even better than OB, which I can't really fathom. Um, but as far as favorite ever played, I mean, it would be OB or something very close to it, like Pacific Dunes, Old Mac. I love Pac Dunes so much, and Old Mac. Yeah, it would probably be between those 3, and Pine Valley. I mean, Pine Valley is just incredible. I hope I get to go back. We didn't get to do the short course. We didn't stay overnight. It was literally a guy that I took to Old Barnwell who said, as we're walking up 18, oh, you should come to New Jersey next summer. And my buddy is one of those guys that if you invite him, he's going to make sure you go. And so we ended up going like 10 months later and played Aronimink the day before and played Pine Valley and then came home. So it was and I passed on Marion because we needed some capital and I couldn't afford it. So I played Aronimink and Pine Valley. But yeah,
that's that's an invite you don't pass up.
Yeah, no. My wife even said, "Don't be an idiot. Like we'll figure this out." So, yeah, OB, Pacific Dunes, Old Mac. I used to say my ashes would be spread on the tee of number 11 at Pac and number 8 at Old Mac, which is the Biarritz downhill par 3, and I would add to that number 14 at Old Barnwell on that tee as well. So those 3 tee shots will have my ashes on them someday. Yeah,
I love it. All right. Well, what course then is at the top of your bucket list?
There's a bunch. Right now, the one I probably have the closest chance to actually play is probably Ohoopee. That article in Golfers Journal just showing the food, right? Like,
oh yeah,
I'm one of those guys that when it comes to evaluating a place, for the whole experience, you got the food, you got the course, you got the food, and you got the showers, right? And from what I've heard, that place ticks all 3 pretty well. Yeah, I'd probably say Ohoopee. Brambles out in Napa is very doable. My brother just joined there, so I'm just waiting to go out there to Brambles.
Nice. Sweet logo out there, by the way.
That is solid, isn't it? Yeah, that goat.
Yeah. Yep.
I think, doesn't Silas Ranch or something like that have a goat as well, since they have goats as caddies, I think? I can't remember. I'd like to do it. I'm a big short course guy. I really, really, really wanted to do the short course at Pine Valley, like really bad. And like that is one of the ones at the top of my bucket list. And then my brother just played Royal Melbourne when he was over there for work. That looked pretty solid. And then, yeah, New South Wales is probably the other one I'd like to play.
Nice. Well, you mentioned a shower, and then you got your upcoming trip to Sand Valley. Get ready. That checks all 3 of your boxes. I think that might be right now my leader in the shower clubhouse for experience for that.
Is it better than Kohler? I've heard Kohler's the best shower anywhere.
Have it down there.
Okay.
I mean, Kohler you would hope would have pretty good ones, but Sand Valley, it's good.
Yeah, I think the best shower I've had I mean, there's no doubt about it. The best shower I've taken at a course so far. If I had to rank showers of courses I've played, it'd be Pete Guy Golf Club in West Virginia. That thing is a 24-inch round, like aluminum trash can lid in the ceiling, and it's coming out 100 psi. Like I came out of there red, like literally red from like just so much abrasion to my skin, but it felt so good. Yeah, that's probably the best one I've played at.
I've never taken a shower at a golf course. Maybe I'm missing out on something.
You're missing out, man.
There's lodging too, so yeah. We'll have this on our golf shower podcast.
Right.
I mean, there's rankings of Golf Digest for showers, sure.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of rankings, what's your favorite course that no one knows about?
I'm at Orangeburg Country Club. If Orangeburg Country Club was 30 minutes closer to Charleston, I'd be up there all the time. And I say that as a hidden gem that anybody can play pretty easily, right? Because it's semi-private from what I understand. I was a member at Columbia Country Club for a year and a half, and I think that is a true hidden gem as well. And I haven't played it yet since they've renovated it. I got to get back up there, but I I cut my teeth going from pretty decent to really, really solid as an amateur golfer at Columbia Country Club, and that place will test you. And I think Orangeburg is every bit as good as far as, well, it was when I played it 7, 8 years ago. It was every bit as good as conditioning. Greens were flying, they were firm. The sand, the sandy soil. I think Orangeburg's, and then for one in the Midwest, there's a place called Purgatory in Noblesville, Indiana.
I played that last summer.
Did you really?
I did.
I played that in 07. I went home for the USAM qualifier in Fort Wayne, and I played the Warren course at Notre Dame, which was really good, but a lot of people heard about. And then I played Purgatory, and I thought it was phenomenal.
I did too.
That's the thing about the Midwest, though, right? Like, you can go, you get bent tee to green, great shape, greens are running 10 or 11, and you're paying $60, right? Whereas down here, you're paying, that place down here would be $350, $400 easily. I thought it was a great track. Yeah.
Those would be great answers there. I like that. Who would be in your dream foursome?
So I'd have a dream eightsome.
Okay. It's your dream.
My dad, my brother, my two sons. So that's 5 of us. My brother's youngest, I'm sorry. He's in the PGM program at Mississippi State. He's pretty solid. So that's 6. Freddie. I might actually have to make it 12. Freddie. And I'll keep it 8. I'd have to flip a coin between Rory and Arnie. I think that would be my, Arnie, I know Arnie and Jack are glad that social media wasn't around when they were in their heyday, but a good friend of mine back home in Indiana, he's played in a few senior opens, and he got to hang out with Arnie in a locker room during a rain delay one time, and just the stories, and just, the guy never turned out an autograph. That he's like, if you're gonna have a role model as a professional in any aspect of life, I think he's pretty close to it. So yeah.
Nice.
Yep. All right. What is your favorite snack at the turn?
I'm always a fan of the steamed hot dog, regardless of where it is, if it's done well. Probably the burger dog at San Francisco Golf. I didn't get to play Olympic. I played San Francisco. Just on a fluke, because a buddy of mine from Boston brought 7 guys down and said, "Hey, I need another member to play at Columbia Country Club." And I'm out there putting, and this guy who's a member at Beverly up in Boston is like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm in the Navy." And my then fiance lived in San Francisco. And he's like, "Oh, have you played San Fran golf?" I'm like, "No." Like, I'm an active duty Navy lieutenant. "No, I haven't played San Fran golf." And he goes, "Well, when are you going back out there?" I said, "Well, New Year's Eve, New Year's." And he's like, "All right." And then 2 weeks later, I get a call from this buddy of his who's a member at San Fran and Marion. And he's like, "All right, January 2nd, 8:30, be there, bring a friend." And
that's awesome.
We played through a foursome on the dual hole, the downhill par 3 7th, and then didn't see anybody else on the course until we were putting out on 18, and there was a 6-some teeing off on 10. And it was that locker room, just, it's got that old musty locker room smell, and there's spike marks everywhere on the benches, and that's a special place. That is a old money San Francisco club, but that place is pretty special. And their burger dog, I can't compare it to Olympics. It was damn good.
Yeah. Well, again, get ready for Sand Valley, because their food on the course is incredible.
Do they do the thing like Stream Song, where each course has a specific halfway house and thing they do? Because that was my other one. Those brisket tacos on, I think it's Red at Stream Song. It's either Red or Black. Black's my favorite course there, but Red, I think, is the one that has the brisket tacos.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. At the original at Sand Valley, the OG course, they have the Craig's Porch with the dollar tacos.
Oh yeah.
It's good. You'll have a good time there.
And we're doing Erin Hills. Is Erin Hills pretty good for food too? Because we're doing that the 2 days.
I hear that's incredible. Yeah.
Is it? All right.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Again, good food at a golf course is just as good sometimes as the golf. Jonathan might say it's better.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Depends on how you're playing.
Yep. What's your favorite golf course logo?
I'm going to take OB out of it. So I love the owl and I love the armadillo. Can't wait to get the logo file for the armadillo so I can
I
slap
know.
that stuff. I'm going to say the park at West Palm, that parrot with the bucket hat. Duke's is a good one. The frog over in Ireland. I actually found this. This is the original Boston Golf Club logo.
Oh,
And
that's
so
awesome.
that, if you've been to Boston Golf, you know, but if you've never been, you'll never find it unless you know what you're looking for. And there's a stick literally at the driveway that has 18 on it, and that's the turn into Boston Golf. Now they have the flag, the red and white battle flag, which is also great. And then I like logos where if it's one of those, if you know, you know, right? Like the Milk Arthur from MacArthur, or
Yep.
the rocking chair from Setting Down Creek at Ainsley, or stuff like that. In general, though, I think not a course, but I think we have a pretty darn good logo ourselves for Bluetross. We have this. So when I was working on stuff, we did this. So, you know, the blue looks like, or the B, I'm sorry, for the bird, for albatross. And then I remember we got it from our designer. And I was like, hey, can you make this part a little thicker, right? I'm worried
Yeah, a
about.
little flag stick.
I'd had this 3.5 weeks, never noticed that that was a flag. Because he said, wouldn't that do something with the bird's tail? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Where's the bird's tail? And he goes, the flag is the bird's tail. I was like, oh, yeah. So we don't use this a lot. We're getting ready to really launch it big time. But that, to me, is a pretty solid logo
That is awesome.
as a homer. And then Pas Tiempo. I love the Pas Tiempo logo as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. What has been your favorite pro shop purchase?
Mm. Pro shop purchase. You know, I would say anything that I've gotten for my wife where I didn't send her a picture and ask her before if she wanted it and she's actually liked it is probably my favorite. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I used to buy head covers at pro shops all the time, right? Well, now I make them, so I don't buy head covers. And shirts I don't really buy anymore because I either have my company logo on or Old Barnwell. Man, what have I bought? I don't, probably stuff I bought at Pine Valley, I guess. I mean, I spent enough at Pine Valley that the pros sent the member a note to say thank Mr. Hanson for his purchase in the pro shop. I know I didn't spend more than somebody else who was there that same day, but I guess it made a big enough dent. Yeah, I don't really have a good one for that. Probably I have a ball marker from TPC Stadium or TPC Sawgrass. And I made a birdie on 17, so that's probably, and it's got a 2 on it, so that's probably my favorite one. I don't know. I'm not a big.
Yeah.
I've only been to Masters once. It was 2003, and I don't have any of that stuff left. So yeah.
Nope.
Don't really know.
All right. What is one thing golfers should do?
Play faster. Fill in your divots. Fix your ball marks. If you're out there playing slow, let faster people play through. But really, just be nice. Just be nice to the staff. Be nice to, especially. I've never seen it at Old Barnwell because I make it very clear to my guests when I bring them out there, like, hey, these kids are not professional caddies. They're not.
Right.
Some of these kids you get. I've had 3 or 4 kids where I'm literally their second or third loop, and our job as members is to kind of help teach them how to do that, and something I really enjoy about being there. Right. My retirement dream at one point was just to move to Bandon and caddy because I hate the heat and I love golf, and it seemed like a good place to be. But I think just being nice in general, period, no matter what you're doing, but especially in golf. People are out there, they paid a lot of money to have a good time. Just be respectful and be nice. It's not that hard.
I love it.
Fixes a lot of things.
It does, right?
Last question here. Finish this sentence. The best part of golf is?
Spending time with friends outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other part I would say is the best part of golf is just, and I find this out more and more every day, is how small the golf world is when it comes to being in the golf business. Like,
yeah.
I play less and less golf I think I played 20 times total last year. So, I should have listened to people who said, if you want to play golf, don't get in the golf business, right? But, it's been good as far as my perspective, because it used to be a pretty decent amateur trying to qualify for USAMs and mid-ams. And now, I'm still pretty decent. I'm still a 4 or 5, but I don't care if I skull that wedge anymore. It's just a momentary, blip on a good day otherwise, right? Like, would I prefer to go out with Sully and shoot 2 under like I used to and beat him by 12 and take all his money? Yeah, I'd prefer that. But am I happy now shooting 78 and having him take all mine because he's better than I am now? Every bit as much, maybe even more so. With time comes reflection and realizing, like, it's just a chance to get to spend some quality time with your friends or your family or with strangers and make new friends. Like, there's so many people in my phone who I've played golf with once or twice that, I still talk to pretty regularly. And I think that, there's very bad parts of golf about, the cost of entry and, the elitism of it that's out there in some spots, right? But then, you've got places like Aiken Golf Club where anybody can go play for $35, which I still haven't played Aiken Golf yet. I have to play that. But, I'd love to, but it's affordable and, anybody can go play it. And with programs like First Tee and the OB Foundation and places like that all around Aiken, and Charleston, they're breaking ground on a learning center and a par 3 course here. Bucky that runs First Tee Charleston's just a great guy. And, Nick Schreiber, founder OB's on the board for First Tee, and being around people like that and getting to talk to them and hang out with them. I think that's the best part. Like, you can show up somewhere. Somebody posted a picture in the OB member WhatsApp the other day at Charleston Muni. It was a selfie with Jim Nance. He stood in line at Charleston Muni to play golf. And so, he's got a $30 million house on Pebble Beach. He can go play there whenever he wants. But no, he's waiting in line to pay $25 at the Muni for Twilight, right? Which I haven't played Charleston Muni yet either. And I've known Troy for 7 years. I haven't played it yet.
We'll come down there and meet you there too.
I tell you, man, you say the bucket list, like, I haven't played much in South. I haven't played Congaree. I haven't played Quixote. I haven't played 21. I haven't played Tree. I haven't, all these places that have opened up, and I don't even get out of my little bubble, here in this shop, or out of, if I'm going to play golf, I'm going to drive 2 hours and go to Aiken and go play Old Barnwell. I think that's one of the other best parts, right? Is you used to just go and beat balls all day. And now when I go play golf, I'm genuinely excited that I get to take a day off and go do something other than hunch over a machine and make my tendonitis worse holding on to leather trying to sew it together. Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
Well, that speaks to what we love about the game as well. So, Mark, this has been a lot of fun, man. I really appreciate you joining us again. Thanks to Mikey for introducing all of us.
Sully, nobody. You say Mikey, nobody will know who the hell you're talking. It's Sully.
Yeah.
Nobody will know who you're talking about.
Yep. No, very appreciative of him. Appreciative of you, man, and just sending us some great stuff. We will proudly show this off on our bags for a long time.
Oh, real quick, we're gonna put a discount. Give you guys a discount code for listeners. It'll probably be like BestBall 15 or something like that. Get 15% off the entire order, not just the most expensive thing. I hate when people do that with discount codes. Like, if you're gonna come to the site, take the time to look around, get some value for your money, and do it on your entire order. So we'll get that set up here today and get that.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. We'll tell everybody where to find your site.
That'd be great. Yeah, bluetross.com, BLUETROSS.com. And
awesome.
that's where
we'll have links in the show notes. We'll highlight your social media stuff too. But Marc, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. And if anybody knows anybody at Sand Valley, please send them my way so I can talk to somebody before I get up.
We'll do it.
So awesome.
We'll do it.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, for Marc and Jonathan, this is Robbie. You guys have been listening to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast.